Today, we are covering two of the most chilling true crime cases of recent times. And trust me, the details of what this killer did after will leave you speechless. Stay with me.
There are days that exist in two halves, the half before and the half after, and the line between them is drawn in a single second, one you never see coming, one you can never take back. October 12th, 2024, New Albany, Indiana. The Harvest Homecoming Festival is one of the oldest and most beloved fall traditions in the state of Indiana. Every year, tens of thousands of people pour into the streets of this small river city. Families with strollers, teenagers on dates, grandparents in lawn chairs, children sticky with funnel cake sugar, their faces painted in orange and gold. For 4 days every October, New Albany transforms into something magical, safe, warm, a place where the whole community exhales and remembers what it means to simply be together. On the evening of October 12th, 2024, 18-year-old Bryce Gerlach was living in the happy half of that day. Bryce was a senior at Corridon Central High School. He was a football player, a son, a young man who carried a Bible in his father's car and had the kind of easy smile that people remember long after they meet him. But on this particular October evening, he wasn't thinking about football or school. He was thinking about one person. Her name was Precious Flan, and tonight was their anniversary. They walked through the festival together, hand in hand, the way young people do when the world feels enormous and full of possibility, and they have no reason to believe it won't stay that way. The rides lit up the night sky. The crowd buzzed around them. It was exactly the kind of evening that exists to be remembered. They had no idea that someone was already watching. Rein twain måste som mindet hurricanes me kind of rein tiximastis mandana. A group of young men had arrived at Harvest Homecoming, carrying something that had no business being at a family festival. Not cotton candy, not a game prize, a Glock 40, and one of them had a plan. 1 week earlier, on October 5th, 2024, a young man named Isaiah Page had opened the Notes app on his phone and typed out 7 words that would later be read aloud in a courtroom and printed in every newspaper in Indiana. Trying to catch me a Vic. Vic, short for victim. He wasn't hiding it. He wasn't even particularly careful about it. He typed it into his own phone, like a grocery list, like a to-do item. The casualness of it, that is the part that prosecutors would later call one of the most chilling pieces of evidence they had ever presented to a jury. Not the gun, not the video, the note on the phone, because it meant the violence at Harvest Homecoming was not impulsive. It was not a moment of madness or blind rage. It was scheduled. Isaiah Page had made a decision, written it down, and then waited for the right moment to carry it out. That moment would come 7 days later, in the middle of a packed fall festival, surrounded by thousands of innocent people, including an 18-year-old boy on an anniversary date with the girl he loved. At approximately 7 p.m., the evening shifted. Witnesses would later tell police they heard what sounded like firecrackers near the ride area, a crowded section in the very center of the festival, where children were queued in long lines and parents waited nearby. Then came the screaming, not the joyful kind, the other kind. The kind that moves through a crowd like electricity, that turns strangers into runners without anyone saying a word. 3 shots, 3 people hit. Bryce Gerlach, standing beside his girlfriend, took a bullet. He was an innocent bystander. He was not involved in any argument. He had no connection to any gang. He was 18 years old, and it was his anniversary, and the last thing he ever did was stand next to someone he loved.
Chaotic and chaos going on in that area, and we just were trying to convey that there's more than one option here with respect to how Mr. Gerlach died.
Brendan Hagan, 22 years old, a young father, was walking to the restroom when the shooting started. He was hit. He survived, but would carry the memory of that night for the rest of his life. Michelle Nashi, a single mother, was waiting for her son to finish a carnival ride. She was shot while she stood there waiting. She too survived. All 3 were bystanders. None of them were the intended target. because Isaiah Page, according to prosecutors, had missed. He had come to Harvest Homecoming to shoot a member of a rival gang, and in the chaos and the crowd and the darkness, the bullets found 3 entirely different people instead, including a boy on a first anniversary date. Precious Flan would later take the stand in a courtroom and say the words that silenced the entire room. She said their anniversary, the one they had been celebrating, was now the day he died. She called it the most traumatic moment of her life. She was 19 when she said that. She will carry it forever. Within hours, New Albany police began canvassing the scene. They recovered 2 .40 caliber shell casings near the Scribner House fountain steps, an elevated position with a clear line of sight over the crowd below. Witnesses began placing a young man at the top of those steps just before the shots rang out. His name was Isaiah Page, and somewhere in the city that night, he was already updating his phone. 1 week after the shooting, October 19th, 2024, investigators would discover that Page had gone back into his Notes app and added a new entry. This one bragged openly about the shooting. He also texted a friend a news article about the Harvest Homecoming shooting and sent an audio clip of himself saying, simply, "We don't fight." He wasn't grieving, he wasn't hiding, he was proud. But what Isaiah Page didn't know, couldn't have known, was that somewhere in the police database, a file was already building. Evidence was compiling, witnesses were talking, and the Notes app on his own phone was about to become the most damning piece of evidence in a murder trial. He thought he had gotten away with it. He was wrong. But before the verdict would come, before the courtroom, before the jury, before the moment that would define the rest of his life, another eruption of violence was about to shatter another innocent family in another crowded public space, 6 months and 400 miles away. This time, a teenage girl had less than 3 weeks until graduation. She would never make it there.